When I was in third grade, my uncle came back from World War I, and I sat on his knee for about a week. And he challenged me to be the best in my class and participate in everything, and I think that started my career, so to speak. I became a Marine, a career Marine. And a famous Marine called Chesty Puller, who had been my instructor back in basic training, saw me and asked me if I would like to join the infantry and command one of his battalions. And I accepted that right away. So I went to the Palau Islands, where Peleliu was the main battle. Even though we lost 60% of my battalion in 2 weeks, they never faltered, they never fell back, they never failed to seize the objective. And in the process, my admiration for Marines in action was multiplied.
Raymond Davis began a highly decorated 34-year military career as a Marine during the Second World War. His defining moment, however, would come during the Korean War as commanding officer of the 1st Battalion of the 7th Marines. In the fall of 1950, most of North Korea was held by the American-led Allied forces, and the war appeared to be nearly over. However, on October 19th, the Chinese entered the war with a force of over 200,000 soldiers advancing over the border into Korea.
Our orders were to go up to the border and stop the Chinese, which was a big tactical mistake. Of course, the Chinese were already in the country, and MacArthur's staff wouldn't believe it. But we went up on the plateau. We went out, going out west to join up with the 8th Army. The snow came, the temperature dropped to 40 below zero. Wind chill was something like 70 below zero. Faces covered with ice, food frozen, water frozen, terrible conditions. But again, these Marines never faltered. They got the job done. The Chinese came and surrounded us. We were outnumbered, I guess, 10 to 1. But fortunately for us, the weather was worse on the Chinese than it was. We found whole Chinese units frozen to death. Tennis shoes, no socks. They had come from South China. Shows you what the communists think of their people, you know, when they do that. They didn't have artillery, didn't have air, so we were able to hold them off, fight our way out. That was when I was sent for by the regimental commander, told of the desperate situation. We had a company seized by the Chinese in a pass which separated our forces. We had 2 regiments on one side of a mountain, the rest of the division on the other side, and we had to get them back together. And the Chinese had seized the pass. They had surrounded this company, were badly beating them, and several attempts had been made to rescue them, and I was finally asked to come up with a plan to rescue the company and open the pass. I told him I'm not going to try on the road because that's failed, that I was going to fight my way out through the Chinese, go out through the mountains and get the job done. And he said, plan approved, get going. It took the rest of the day to fight our way out through the Chinese. We had to go up there and actually had some hand-to-hand fighting with some of them after we, of course, put a lot of artillery on them initially. And so we had to go single file through deep snow, through the mountains. Our radios wouldn't work, they were frozen. We couldn't put out patrols or anything. And we were being fired at from long range. And we went on. And we were getting so close to the company, I was afraid that we would come under attack. So we went into defensive formation for the rest of the night. Next morning, I took my radio operator up to where we could actually see the company down below. And somehow, using his bayonet, he got a radio to work with the company. And the company commander got on and said he'd send a patrol out to show us the way in, but I could see hundreds of Chinese between us, and so I told him we would, if he could put some artillery and air on those Chinese, we'd come in. And we went in, got in there about 11 o'clock in the morning. And the company, which had been 250 Marines, was down to 50 Marines, so it was very close to disaster. And we rescued them. And then I sent forces out into the pass to clear the Chinese out of the pass. So we got our force back together and could fight our way to the sea. And it was this unbelievable action by my Marines that earned for me the Medal of Honor. I was over in Europe on a maneuver when it was announced. I was pretty much daunted by the whole idea, you know, and to get there, here were all the senior staff people and cabinet people, and everybody surrounding us, and the family was all there, and I don't know, I was kind of struck by the whole thing. An interesting thing to me was that even though I had 800 Marines out in that condition for 3 days, 3 nights, there was not one complaint, one beef out of them, because they were going to rescue other Marines, so there's no way of stopping them. And that idea of one for all for one, really stuck with me.